Let me ask you, you've been asked a million different ways about Social Security. You know the Democrats want to bring this issue up. Sunsetting the program every 5 years for renewal. Why do that? Why?
He didn't pay his taxes.
Senator, you're playing a math game here. You're playing a math game. They didn't cut anything on Medicare. It's cost savings having to do with the prescription drug. Look, I understand that you want to call it something else, but
Chuck, if you cut spending in Medicare, it's probably going to impact the ability for somebody to provide things.
Everybody, here is some breaking news about the stimulus payments from President Biden. President Biden has something for the American people right now, or people are in some big trouble. Now, we know this. Congress is taking action on stimulus payments. It comes as they address and several issues that millions of Social Security, SSI, and SDR recipients are facing. Joe Manchin is actually urging the Democrats and Republicans just come to an agreement very fast. Some seniors, though, may end up receiving bigger monthly checks than expected. Now, folks, Joe Manchin is calling for broad bipartisan deals to protect the solvency of Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid, popular programs that face serious funding issues over the next few decades. During a conference, Manchin said we can't keep living with crippling debt. We have to look at the trust funds that are going bankrupt, whether it be Medicare, Medicaid, or just Social Security. They're a tremendous problem right now. You heard that right, folks. Joe Biden actually said that Joe Manchin might cancel Social Security. Manchin also stated if we can't come to grips of how to face the financial challenge that the country has, we're going to be paying a price that we can't afford. So Manchin, who's saying Biden's ambitious $3 trillion Build Back Better agenda in December, has often talked about the financial challenges facing Social Security and Medicaid. The Social Security Administration announced last year that it's just not projected to have the funds to pay for the full benefits past 2033. In February, Manchin proposed addressing the shortfall by increasing the amount of income subject to taxation. It'll be done to fund Social Security from $147,000 to $400,000. Manchin also pushed against Senate Budget Committee Bernie Sanders' effort to expand Medicare to include vision, dental, and hearing benefits. He argued that the core program itself was in danger because of the soaring federal debt. So if Manchin continues to push for bipartisan deals to shore up the finances of Social Security and Medicare, he could have a negotiating partner in Mitch McConnell, who has just proposed broad entitlement reform on several previous occasions. After Republicans held the Senate majority in the 2014 midterm election, McConnell decried that what he called the unsustainable growth rate of Social Security and Medicare, and warned we need to make adjustments to these popular programs or they won't be there in the next generation. If you guys don't remember, back in 2018, Republicans controlled the White House, and McConnell said back then that spending was the main driver of the federal deficit. And now Manchin just jumped on this. He said it's a bipartisan problem. Unwillingness to address the real drivers of the debt by doing anything to adjust those programs to the demographics of America in the future. Biden said that 16 million Americans who applied for the student loan debt program are going to be approved by the end of the week. It's just the last step before they begin receiving forgiveness checks. During an event in New Mexico, Biden said, by the end of the week, the Department of Education will have approved applications of 16 million Americans into the paperwork to student loan servicers, the last step before people can receive the money. A legal ruling has actually halted the administration from dispersing relief, while a federal appeals court actually considers a challenge from 6 Republican-led states. Now, Biden previously stated that checks would arrive in coming weeks, and that his administration was going to win the court case. The plan is to forgive up to $10,000 in student loan debt from borrowers earning under $125,000. Joe Biden has touted the program despite the halt in the days leading up to the election as one of the major accomplishments of his administration. Chuck Schumer predicted that Democrats are going to win this, and Schumer said it's tight and the Democrats will hold the Senate. After a strong showing over the summer, hopefully they can do this, and hopefully President Biden can get some stimulus payments sent out.
Well, hello, New York. Let's hear it for the greatest city in the greatest state in the greatest nation in the world. Now, my dear friends, I am so proud and so honored that the people of New York have given me another term to keep doing what I love, fighting to deliver real results for New York in the U.S. Senate. Listen to this. In fact, thanks to the voice of the voters, I am the first New Yorker ever to be elected for 5 terms to the New York Senate. It's deeply humbling as it is motivating to me. And I vow to you and to all New Yorkers, I will work just as hard to make this new term every bit as impactful as the 4 that came before it, because you know why? New York is in my bones.
And the New Jersey legislature voted to approve a $500 tax rebate for families with children that earn $30,000 or less. The other new addition from Republican Governor Phil Scott was he introduced the Vermont Child Tax Credit at the beginning of June, enabling households to receive a $1,000 tax credit for children under 5 in families earning $125,000 or less per year. The program is expected to benefit over 30,000 people in Vermont. And Senate Democrats are at a sprint to accomplish as much as they can before the start of the midterm elections. Chuck Schumer announced progress over the 4th of July weekend in negotiations with Joe Manchin on a budget reconciliation bill. Now, the Senate Republican Whip John Thune predicted that the Democratic absences will limit the chamber's agenda this week. Talks between Schumer and Manchin on elements of Biden's Build Back Better plan picked up momentum over the past few weeks. This comes as they reach an agreement on proposal to lower the cost of some prescriptions and to increase taxes on wealthy individuals who earn income from pass-through businesses. The estimated $203 billion in revenue raised by a tax increase will be used to extend the solvency of Medicare's hospital fund by 3 years. Manchin is already coming under criticism from special interest groups for supporting 3.8% tax on individuals who earn more than $400,000, all done through annual income from a pass-through businesses. And Americans for Tax Reform, a group that favors smaller government and lower taxes, said the same tax proposal is going to raise around 1,800 tax filers in West Virginia, slamming it as a $250 billion tax increase on small businesses. Manchin told reporters there's people talking back and forth, but added that he remains concerned about the impact of the legislation on inflation. Schumer's other top priorities for the bipartisan bill, sponsored by Collins and Shaheen, that will cap out-of-pocket insulin costs at $35 a month. But that proposal is already running into stiff Republican opposition. A group of GOP senators, led by Senator Pat Toomey, sent a letter to the Senate Finance Committee, asking it to review the insulin legislation before it comes to the floor. The lawmakers wrote that Schumer's plan would bring the bill to the floor this month and would not allow a key committee of jurisdiction to weigh in.
Thank the chair for yielding. Mr. Speaker, this is a bill that has to pass if we're going to keep government operating. And the chair of this committee has worked very hard to get that done. And she's been successful as chair of moving most of our bills through this House. The Senate has not yet moved any of its bills, as it did not last year. But this is an important, critical part of our process to fund the government, keep it operating, and invest in the priorities of the American people. And that's what we're doing today on these appropriation bills. I want to thank Chairwoman Rosa DeLauro and members of the staff of the Appropriations Committee for their hard work on this package. Once again,